everybody, how are my internet friends? Thanks so much for coming. I thought that this month that I would do a question and answer session. We're gonna put out a good new video and it's taken a while. It's been crazy. So I decided to post on all my social medias and ask all of you, my friends, to ask me questions and I'll answer them. So, first question from Gavin. Gavin, singer musician. Yeah, I got a question, Ariella. What are your thoughts about the meaning of life? Oh, that was the first question, guys. Before anybody asks me any questions like, what's your favorite food? Meaning of life. All right, so I believe very strongly that we were put into the world with two very opposing sides of us, and they're always fighting, right? And that you have those two sides of you and you don't even always know which side is the good side and which side is the bad side. So I believe that we were put into this world to work on figuring out what's the good side and how to do the good stuff, though, like leave the world a better place, more or less. And that every single person, that they have their own unique reason that they're here in the world, and unique gifts, and they have unique things that they can give. So yeah, you've got unique things, Gavin. Everybody's got unique things, and we got to figure out what that is and work on giving our gifts to the world. Okay, so I had two similar questions. Rachel asked, from what age did you start? And Ari Bina asked me, would love to hear you chat about your violin background and how you learned as a child. I started the violin when I was about 7, and I started playing, and I learned with a Suzuki teacher right at the beginning. And my grandfather is a very, very, very important person for you all to know about. He was a violinist. He was a prodigy from Israel who moved to Juilliard, and until very recently, he was the youngest person to be accepted to Juilliard for violin when he was 11, and he learned with Galamian. And he heard me play when I was about 9, and he said, no, you're not doing the Suzuki thing. He was really not into Suzuki. So, and he was really not into Suzuki. So, so he signed me up and sponsored me for the Peabody Preparatory, which is more or less where I spent the next 5 years of my life. Yeah, I basically lived there. I actually left school, and I was in a couple of like local competitions, and I was studying at Peabody, and I was in all the classes there, and I was there like pretty much all the time until I got to high school. I got to go to Japan to play. I got a lot of really cool opportunities as a kid, and I definitely wasn't a prodigy, like definitely not, but I got a lot of cool opportunities. So that. Okay, next question. I got a couple of questions about my headscarf. Why do I wear a headscarf? So the answer to that question is that I am an Orthodox Jew, and what that means is that we cover our heads once we're married. So that's why I wear this thing, and I love it. I love wearing it, and I love what it signifies, and yeah, that's all. Next. Also, right now I'm wearing a ring, but sometimes I take it off because it's not always so comfortable to play, especially practicing. So sometimes I take it off, and if I'm going to take it off, like I want people to know that I'm married and that I love my husband. My husband's really, really cool. Just as an aside, he's a rabbi, and he knows like just about everything that there is to know about Judaism. But he's like, yeah, you do what you do, you know, which is really nice. He's really supportive of me. Okay, next question. Okay, also, there were a couple of people who asked me questions that were related to violin playing. I'm going to make separate videos about that. I already had a bunch of minutes, and I don't want you guys here all day. So, okay. And then I had two people who also asked similar questions. Rachel Koenigsberg gave me a whole list, which was really nice, because when you have a question to answer, you're like, okay, ask me questions, and then you're like, so if nobody asks, then you feel really bad. Okay. So I actually give courses on improvising, and the reason that I do that is, first of all, I'm an improvising type of person, which means that like you see people who are very, very organized, and then you see other people who are very, very free, and the people who are very, very organized are usually very good at classical. Like it's classical playing is a very, very organized playing, whereas improvisation uses a totally different part of your brain, which is like the kind of the part of your brain that like comes up with random solutions when like crazy things happen, and you're like, oh, I'll just use this Q-tip to like open a door. You know, that kind of brain when you're like, oh, I don't have a key, so I'm gonna, and so they're basically totally different parts of your brain, and they do need to be developed if you want to be playing improvisations, and if you want to be playing anything that's not classical. The thing is that nobody can really teach you that. Nobody can really teach you how to improvise because you have to do it on your own. And the thing that's cool about that is that you really can do it on your own. The way to start, the first thing to do is take a chord chart, take a song that you know, and you can find tabs all over the internet that you're like, okay, this is a C chord, this is a E chord, this is an E minor chord, and then each chord obviously has X amount of notes in it, usually like 3 notes. Let's say C major has 3 notes, C, E, and G, and then you can play any of those notes during that time that chord is being played. So that's already improvisation. Like, that's the first step. And then you just start playing around with it, and the more that you do it, the faster you can do it, and the better you can do it. That's really the best advice that I can give about that. That's the best I can do. How I learn improvisation, just by playing with other people, just like pulling it out. And sometimes I sounded stupid. Sometimes I made mistakes, but I just did it. Next, okay, I also had 2 questions that were very similar from Doris Shot News, and I just want to shout out to Doris because Doris discovered me from a video that I posted in a while ago, and she became one of my Patreons, and thank you for being so involved. She always asks questions and gets very involved in everything that I post, so I'm really grateful for that. Because I wanted to like just say here that I've noticed that a lot of people that follow me, and I run into them in the street, and they're like, oh, I love your videos, and if you want to help in any way, then the way to help is to share those videos and to comment on those videos so that they pop up in other people's feeds, because otherwise they don't. And if you like it, then I would really appreciate it. You don't have to, but I would really appreciate it if you could. Okay, so Doris and Rachel asked similar questions. How do you balance your home and mothering responsibilities with your career? And how do you create home for yourself and your family? So, first of all, family is my number 1 priority. And I've found that, first of all, home and family is my number 1 priority. As a mom, my kids are young. That's got to be my main focus and my main thing. I'm not obviously homeschooling, so I do have the hours that they're not home, but I also try to be there for them. And I took on this year that I'm teaching 2 afternoons a week. I'm teaching on Sundays and Mondays. Sundays I teach, I'm the interdisciplinary coordinator for Ron Shalomit Conservatory, which is really cool because it's where Itzhak Perlman went in one of its incarnations. And that's on Sundays. And on Mondays I teach groups here where I live. And then I have shows. And I wasn't really thinking like how I'm going to balance that out. And the thing that I can really say the most thank you for is that weekends, from Friday night to Saturday night, we turn off our phones and we have Shabbat, which is like family time. And what's great about that is that we all understand that there's no media, because media is so distracting. And my husband, who works so hard and so crazy, like so hard, and all day, we hardly see him all week long. And and me too. Like, I'm also running around all the time. We have a lot of babysitters. And it's really nice that we have the weekend to spend as a family. So, I mean, even if you just, have one night a week that you say, okay, no phones, and we're all going to hang out together, and we're going to talk, and we're just going to bond. It's really important. It's really important if you have a family to bond with your family, because there's no guarantees that they're going to, they're going to do anything for you, or that, that they're going to have a good relationship with them. So, I don't know, that's something that I really prioritize. And I love spending time with my family. So that's how I balance it. I see that you have to choose what you want to do and what's the most important thing for you. And cleaning is not my favorite thing, and laundry is not my favorite thing, so those things don't happen so often. Oops. So okay, so next, oh, okay, Electronic Violin Shop said, we'd love to know more about your rig. To be very honest, is I don't use a lot of crazy equipment. I use my RC300, which is a looper. And built into my looper, I have the ability to modulate thing, which is like, it's fun. But the truth is I don't use so much because I think my sound is more of a quasi-classical sound, so I don't use that so much. And I use an octave pedal. So those two things, and to be very honest, is that the reason I use those two things is because my idol, Adam DeGraff, he uses those two things. So, you know, I asked him what he uses in gigs, and that's what he uses. And I really love his sound, and I love what he's, you know, doing with everything. And so he's really like my person that I want to be like, because also he's an amazing person. And yeah, I love him. I love Adam DeGraff. So if you don't know his music, then you should look him up. And we have a like connection. Like, I don't know, we talk. I don't know if he feels like connected to me, but I go and like bug him all the time. That's a different question. Okay, so you asked, what are your motivational tips for practicing instruments? You have to have goals. That's what I've seen, is that you have to have goals. Like right now, so I started teaching at a pretty serious conservatory. So I'm pulling out more of my, you know, classical music because I wanna impress everyone there. And motivational tips. Like I said, I like posting things on the internet. That helps. It helps me to motivate myself. Okay. I would love to hear more about what goes on behind the scenes of The Voice, and what do you do to calm your nerves before a performance. I get very, very, very nervous, and I just pray. I pray. I don't like, and basically what I'll do before is I'll take a couple of deep breaths. And you know what, the truth is that I think that people also like that kind of aspect of performance where they know that there's a chance they're going to screw up. Like, no, that's like, now, you know, that's why people like seeing live performances. So I just go and I hope that it's going to be good. And sometimes it's not, but you know what's cool about time is that people forget pretty quickly if you screwed up. Also, behind the scenes of The Voice. So The Voice is a reality show. And basically what they'll do is everything that you see, every time that they're talking to you, every time that they're interviewing you, every time that you're on stage, you're there for hours. And they like keep on like asking you questions and keep pushing you and keep like trying to move you in the direction that they want you to say something, and you might not be like really determined that you're not going to say anything like that, and then they'll like, you know, they'll keep pushing you, and then eventually you say something similar, and then they take that thing, and that's what they use. So I mean, whatever. I mean, it's not exactly not reality, but it's not exactly honest. So that's what I have to say about The Voice. Although, and I also, of course, they use auto-tune, and they change things if they want people to sound better, or they want people to sound worse. In my case, like on the show, I had my violin, and my violin sounded terrible. I was just like, well, that's not how I sound. When I'm like in shows and I'm playing, my violin sounds a lot better. Like, I was very surprised at like how bad they made the violin sound. I don't know what to say about that. That's just like they did that. Okay, and last question from Avi Gans. Fire to prime time, to weddings, to lessons, to music videos. So is there a blurry line between artistic music and practical business music? I love music. I don't really care. Like, I don't really care what music I'm playing, what I'm doing. Like, and that's part of why it's been so hard for me to kind of find my niche. Because I don't really care what I'm doing. As long as I'm having a good time. And as long as, you know, it sounds good. And as long as I enjoy it. Everything. Right now I'm working on house track. Like, I'm working on house.
Like, it's just, you know, it's really fun to be in, like, music just does it for me. So, like, I mean, if you're a person like that, then you're also like, okay, I don't care so much what I'm playing as long as I'm playing, because that's what I need to be doing, and that's what I want to be doing, and that's my life. So that's like the answer to that question, is that, like, I often am thinking about, like, what's going to be more marketable in terms of what I'm going to play, but I don't really care about that, because, like, as long as I'm playing, I'm happy. But I'm sure that there's a blurry line, you know. You look at people like I don't know, like Andre Rieu, right? So he's a violinist, and he has this whole show, and his women come in these beautiful dresses, and okay. Like, that's his show. That's fine, you know, like, that is what it is, and he uses the visual aspect in order to sell the music. And lots of people do that. Like, you know, lots of people are, okay, they're selling that they're beautiful, and like, you know, you have the classical soloist who comes out in the strapless dress. She's selling that she's beautiful and that she's elegant. So, like, everybody's, I mean, you just use what you can in this world. I'm like, I am me. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be someone else. And because I'm not going to be someone else, it's like, I'm happy with what I'm doing. So that's it. All right, guys, that's all your questions. This is kind of a long video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I like answering questions. This was fun. And the technique videos, I'm gonna upload a couple of those. Also, I don't have my camera, so I'm doing this right now on my phone, and, like, phones are not as good as cameras. So I'm hoping that I'll get a new camera soon, and then I'll make some more tutorial videos all of you awesome people who asked me for tips on violin playing. So have a wonderful day, and I'm super duper looking forward to sharing my new tracks with you. And yeah, that's all. Bye bye.